So we'll see.
But do you think, are you still, tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him, I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see.
The worrying thing is, with Moses' style, he could be landing some serious bombs, sharp bombs, that do a lot of damage to Dillian early doors, so he could never get into the fight. So yeah, I think it's stacked against Dillian. I'm not saying that Dillian can't do anything in the fight. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if I'm looking at it from the outside in and just looking at how I see, how I see both ends stages of careers, the styles.
Dillian Whyte has done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least ask questions of this young pup.
Heavyweight boxing insiders are weighing in on the upcoming Moses Itauma versus Dillian Whyte clash. Promoter Frank Warren predicts Moses will get the win, though he acknowledges it won't be an easy night. Whyte still carries serious punching power. Warren believes Moses has the composure to handle the pressure and emerge victorious, adding that he's rooting for him because he sees Moses as the future of the heavyweight division.
What is your forecast for this fight?
I think he's going to be in a tough fight. I know he's got the punch power to hurt and stop Dillian Whyte, but I also know that Dillian Whyte also has the punch power to cause damage. And the one thing with Moses at the moment is that's not been tested. So we'll see.
But do you think, are you still, tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see. For me, beating him is a big thing. Right. However he does it. And I want to see the other side of him as well. I want to see him, I want to see him in a tough 12-round fight where he comes through it and boxes his way through it. He's not a one-trick pony. He can box, but as I say, this is a tough one. This is going to be. This is a fans' fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight.
That's what it is. It is a fans' fight.
Far from his best, but says the build-up to this fight has shown a different side of him. Training camp footage reveals a leaner, sharper, and more physically prepared Whyte, possibly in the best condition of his career. Ade believes this transformation could turn Whyte into a genuine threat for the fast-rising Moses Itauma, giving him the tools to test the young contender and push him to his limits.
All of a sudden, people have seen the shape that... I saw a video, which I'm guessing you guys have seen as well, of Dillian Whyte hitting the heavy bag and doing a bit of a bit of shadow boxing. He looked incredible. Dillian Whyte, me and G-Man did the look back, didn't we? Dillian Whyte versus Chisora. And Dillian Whyte looked in incredible shape there. And I was thinking, if he can get close to that, he's close to that. He's close to that. Dillian Whyte in his last few fights has been around the 260 mark. I think might have even been heavy for a couple. I think he looks low 250s. And all I can ask from a fighter, this is why I get so pissed off with Martin Bakole, just get in shape. Skill's skill. You're not going to change a fighter from fucking where you are to Muhammad Ali. I'm not asking for that. Just get in shape. Dillian Whyte has ticked that box. And he's like, okay, if you think I'm going over to Saudi Arabia just to get smoked by this 20-year-old, we'll see. That's what I'm taking from the shape I'm seeing him in, because he looks incredible. And also, when he's firing out his jab in that little shadow boxing, his arms are so long. Dillian Whyte, compared to his body structure, he has overly long arms. What I'm getting at is that Dillian Whyte can box a bit as well, He's not just a brawler, he's been tagged as this brawler. He can box a little bit. Is he a better boxer than Moses? No. But that jab could be key. Jab's always key, right? We always talk about it. But one thing I see with Dillian Whyte being in this shape is that he's saying, if I can take this young boy past 6, we're going to go into deep waters that this young boy's never been before. And it's all well and good Moses saying, I'm sparring 10 rounds and sparring 12 rounds. And I was on TalkSport when he mentioned this yesterday. Fighting 10 rounds is different. Fighting 12 rounds is different. Dillian Whyte's done that. And look, sometimes Dillian Whyte's blown out of his arse. Sometimes Dillian Whyte's been beat in those 12-round fights. But Dillian Whyte has done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least ask questions of this young pup.
Former professional boxer and analyst Lawrence Whyte praises Moses Itauma's impressive wins so far but highlights one key point: none of them have come against someone with the experience and pedigree of Dillian Whyte. Moses is still in the early stages of his career and hasn't yet matched Whyte's years of top-level ring time. Lawrence warns that this experience gap could be a decisive factor once the bell rings.
I know, relax. Moses has been performing under the bright lights, but what I'm saying is, it's still so early and he's got a lot to prove. Up until this point, I can't argue. He's passed every test with flying colours, but the problem is, he's passed so easily, he's missed out on valuable lessons along the way, and he's now got a very experienced veteran in front of him, in Dillian Whyte, who's been at world level. Everybody's written Dillian off, but recently, seeing interviews and seeing training footage, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I've got to be honest, my mind's starting to shift. Let's take a look and discuss the key takeaways.
I don't think I've ever seen you be this big an underdog in a fight. You are like 1 to 14.
Dev asked Dillian, how does he feel being the underdog?
And that's what makes it dangerous. As an underdog, you're underneath. You get up at them testicles and lock onto them, and it's game over.
It's crazy really because, like I said, he's fought at world level, fighting the likes of Povetkin, Fury, Chisora, AJ, Parker, the list goes on. But in sports, you're only as good as your last performance. In Dillian's last fight, he looked terrible, putting it politely.
Has he put something in you? Because like your last few fights, Ebony's like instilled a fear, not...
No man has put anything in me. Pause this.
Dillian does make me laugh, dark humour, but maybe that says more about me. He says it the way it is. There's no sugar coating. Dev says, is this the biggest risk he's took in his career? Which again is madness.
All of them have been massive, because you think no one's ever had me as the favourite. Think of one fight that was the favourite. Just think.
Dylan's right. He's always the underdog. It's nothing new.
How do you reflect on your fight with Tete?
It was what it was. Listen, I've been walking the long, lonely, dark road for 3 years.
This is the thing. People forget that fighters go through things outside of the ring which affect the performance, but us fans only judge the performance. At the end of the day, fighters are human, they're not robots.
Then that fight for me was ask myself a question. Can I take a good walk and push through? Can I force myself to put the jabs in? Can I...
He admits he wasn't in great shape, but that fight for him was about dipping his foot in the water and seeing if he still got it and still wants it.
I had a few injuries and stuff going into the fight, but it's what it was. But that fight reignited the...
Recent training footage has shown Dillian Whyte in excellent form, surprising many who doubted him after a stretch of inactivity and a less than convincing last outing. Clips show him moving with intent, throwing crisp combinations, and maintaining a strong, steady rhythm. Physically, he looks close to peak shape, similar to when he stopped Lucas Brown in 2018. This resurgence has reignited optimism among fans who believe Whyte still has the tools to compete at the highest level. With Moses Itauma across the ring, Whyte's training transformation has become a hot talking point, setting the stage for a potentially explosive heavyweight showdown.
That since like late 18, right? I remember him knocking out Lucas Brown. When he knocked out Lucas Brown, he looked like he was in the best shape of his life. He looks similar or better now, which is very impressive. And I think, like Terrence Crawford, people are now looking at Dillian Whyte. Seeing is believing. When we see results, we start believing in those results. I think now people understand that Dillian Whyte has taken this very seriously. He's been out of the ring for a long time. His last two opponents, Witt, Tete, and Hammer, they both quit. And I think that Dillian, this is his last hurrah. If it's his last hurrah, if it's his last time to shine, he has nothing to lose. Why not go out with a bang? Why not go in the best shape possible? Why not do what you're supposed to do in training camp? Okay, because you can't really predict what happens in that ring except you and that other guy, except that you or that other guy. But in training camp, you have a team around you. You have determination, you have motivation, you have discipline more than likely. Okay? And I think that Dillian Whyte is looking great. He is looking great. He doesn't have the unbalanced body type like you normally see him. He's too big upper body, legs are small. You know what I mean? He's throwing, he's all off balance because of the imbalance of his body. But I do think that Dillian Whyte will come in to make a splash, and this is how you're supposed to look if you intend on doing it. I love the way he looks. He looks great. He looks in shape. He looks like he's ready for a battle. That's what it's about.
There's no question Moses Itauma is under intense pressure heading into this fight. Fans and media agree, unless he beats Dillian Whyte convincingly, his earlier achievements could lose some shine in the public eye. In boxing, reputations can change overnight, and one underwhelming performance can raise doubts. A close or uninspired win won't satisfy those calling him the division's next big star. This fight is about more than adding another victory to his record. It's about protecting his hard-earned reputation and keeping the unstoppable momentum that has fueled his rapid climb through the heavyweight ranks.
So much pressure now on this young man's shoulders. Like, if he doesn't look spectacular against Dillian Whyte, all of a sudden people are like, that's how fickle boxing fans are. We're so fucking fickle. If he doesn't look great against Dillian Whyte, we'll be like, he's almost got to ice Dillian Whyte for everyone to say, yeah, he's the king. You know what I mean? For him to continue that trajectory, because he is like a fucking rocket ship at the moment. Going on the eye test, I think he has absolutely everything. Going on what people tell me about him, I think he has absolutely everything. I hear the sparring stories. Guys, there is so much I could share on this channel that I don't. So much. But I hear the sparring stories. I know who he's hurt. I know who he's wobbled. I know all those things. And he's a bad man. Honestly, he's a bad man. I look at him, it's funny. I don't feel like I'm interviewing a 20-year-old. You know what I mean? He just is a man, isn't he? But yet he's a kid. And being a kid isn't a bad thing in the sport of boxing, because there is that kind of fearlessness, like this youthful exuberance, speed. You're not damaged goods. You haven't been through the trenches. The politics of boxing hasn't made you fall out of love with the sport yet. So as much as people say he lacks experience, sometimes lacking experience in those things I've just mentioned can't be too bad.
British light heavyweight contender Anthony Yarde believes Moses Itauma has shown signs of greatness from the very start, even at just 18 years old. Yarde sees qualities that point to future dominance in the heavyweight division and is confident Moses has what it takes to become the next major champion. His belief comes not only from watching Moses in action but also from recognizing the mental toughness needed to succeed at the sport's highest level.
Moses Itauma, his first headline event, takes on the Body Snatcher, Dillian Whyte. You first on this. How good is Moses? I mean, you must hear the stories that everyone seems to hear about the sparring and all that. How good is Moses when you're watching him?
I've seen Moses, and I've said this from the beginning, from when he was 18, 19. This guy, this, he's it.
He's it.
He is it. He is it. This is my opinion. It's boxing. I know it's pressure and all these kind of things or whatever, but he's it.
Why?
He's got skill set, fast hands, footwork. From what I've seen, he's got a chin. Not that you need to be getting hit with these wild shots, because clearly you've done something wrong if you got hit. Good jab, you know. For me, in my opinion, he's it.
British trainer and boxing pundit Dave Coldwell says Moses Itauma's fighting style is tailor-made to cause Dillian Whyte serious trouble. He points to Moses's blend of speed, precision, and aggression, dangerous traits against a fighter who has taken plenty of punishment over the years. Coldwell warns that at this stage of Whyte's career, he must be extremely cautious because Moses has the weapons to do major damage if given the chance. A member of Whyte's current training team acknowledges the threat Moses poses as a young, energetic opponent. They understand that if Whyte comes out swinging too aggressively in the early rounds, it could play into Moses's hands and create unnecessary danger. Instead, their strategy is to make Moses work hard from the opening bell without giving away big opportunities, forcing him to burn energy and pushing him into uncomfortable territory.
We've not really seen him, and that's where his weakness could be.
Of course. I mean, if you try to go out there and blast him out, you're playing into his hands because he's young, he's fast, and he can punch. So sometimes you gotta walk him down.
You've been part of the Dillian Whyte team now. Dillian Whyte joined you, right? He left Mark Tibbs and said, okay, I need Buddy McGirt. You've been part of the team for a while. Do you have any say on the opponent? Now, does he come to you, for example, and say, look, okay, this is what we want to do, and then you can kind of give them guidance? Or is it a case of, this is the opponent, get me ready for this opponent, buddy?
Well, you know, it's like this. In a situation like this, when they come to you, you know, he said to me, listen, buddy, this is what they're putting on the table for me. I said, so what do you want to do? I mean, I don't want to say, yeah, and you're not feeling it. You know, I want to see what you're feeling. And he goes, I got to go for it. So, all right, let's go. You know, we're a team, so if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. I mean, if we got to go through this hailstorm to get to the other side of the we got to do what we got to do.
Buddy, I saw something the other day, and I don't believe you. I want to pull you up on it. I think I saw that you said you haven't seen Moses box before, and you don't watch your opponent's box. But I don't believe you, buddy. I don't believe you.
I swear to you. I will not lie to you.
Team Whyte believes that if they can drag the fight into the later rounds, the pace and physical demands will begin to shift in their favor. At that stage, Whyte's experience, ring IQ, and adaptability could allow him to seize control. They see this measured approach as the best way to blunt Moses's youthful explosiveness and swing the momentum toward Whyte. However, Whyte's former trainer, who has guided him through countless wars, admits he's uneasy about this matchup. While he acknowledges the strong financial upside and the potential business benefits, he warns that Moses brings a dangerous combination of youth, skill, and relentless ambition. Those qualities, he says, can lead to unpredictable moments inside the ring, especially when a young fighter has a point to prove. Experience will help, but against a hungry and highly motivated opponent, complacency is deadly. Every mistake could be costly, making mental sharpness just as important as physical readiness.
To be fair, like, I'm thinking I had 11 fights with Dillian. We got to world #1, and so I know Dillian really, really well. And I don't like that fight for him. I never thought it'd be a step up for someone. He won't like me saying that. It's just my emotional investment that was in him. But you know, he's done very well, Dillian, and he deserves a big payday. I'm sure. I'm hoping he's getting that. Listen, he's got the experience to upset the apple cart, Dillian. He has, but what's his name? Who's he fighting?
Moses Itauma.
Moses, I beg your pardon. Moses is a serious, responsive operator, and man can pick his punches well. So, yeah, obviously Moses is the favourite for me in that fight. But you know, I like to see someone like Dillian with that art and that mindset and his character. You know, I like Dillian.
Moses Itauma speaks with unshakable confidence, declaring himself a level above the rest of the boxing world. He boldly claims his skill set and fight IQ are unmatched, going so far as to say his technical ability and ring intelligence surpass those of Alexander Usyk. These statements reflect not arrogance, but an unbreakable self-belief and a fearless mindset. For Moses, this fight isn't just another step in his career, it's an opportunity to prove he can outclass anyone who stands in front of him. He enters the ring not simply as a rising prospect, but as a man convinced he's destined for greatness.
You must have a view of what level you're at now.
If you want my honest opinion, I think
I do.
If my skill set, if you're talking about my ring IQ and what I display in the ring, I feel like I am the best in the world, but I haven't displayed the later rounds. That's all what I kind of want to get ticked off. So my next opponent or opponents this year, we're just looking at fights to kind of get me into that later round, because I feel like with Usyk, I feel like I've got a better skill set than him, but I feel like towards the later rounds, he'll just outdo me, because I've never been in that sort of fight.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates. Until next time.